In this series, we're going through all 91 issues of Battle Games in Middle-earth. I'm Mike, and in issue 21, we continue our journey through the dark depths of Moria. In this issue, we'll take a quick look at the Warriors of the Fellowship. We'll explore the playable scenario Barlin's Tomb, paint another membership of the Fellowship, this time Gimli, and tackle a big build, the Chamber of MESBG and Barlin's Tomb, a recreation of one of the most memorable scenes from the movies. Let's get going by flicking through the magazine. We start with an overview of Gimli and a look at the Warriors of the Fellowship. Though the magazine does do Moria dirty by completely leaving him out, it only covers Gimli, Aragorn and Legolas, and personally I think there should have been an honourable mention for Sam and his frying pan.
I think I'm getting the hang of this.
Turning over the pages, we reach the battle game Barlin's Tomb. For the forces of good, we have the full Fellowship. Evil gets a cave troll, a goblin captain and a swarm of Moria goblins. It was at this point where I realised I don't have a cave troll in my collection, and I didn't want to use a paper cutout that comes in the magazine. I 3D printed one and gave him a super quick paint job. The action takes place on a 2 foot by 2 foot board, with all the Fellowship models starting in contact with Barlin's Tomb and the evil forces waiting just outside the door. To win, good needs to kill 20 evil models, and evil wins if they manage to kill just one member of the Fellowship. Now let's move on to painting Gimli. As usual, I'm not following the guide in the magazine. I'm always developing my own style, picking out techniques I like and adapting them to suit my time and workflow. I'm not someone who wants to spend 100 hours on a single model, so I'm aiming for a method that gets a miniature tabletop ready quickly, while still leaving room to refine it later if I want. Here's a quick overview of my method as it stands right now, and if you want the full painting video, the link is up, probably here. My current painting method is all about achieving a quick tabletop standard, something that still looks impressive but doesn't take forever to finish. I use speed paints for this, and while I used to slap chop, I found I didn't really like the look of dry brushing. Instead, I go for a zenithal highlight, starting with black, then spraying grey at around a 45-degree angle and finishing with white directly from above, especially on the face or any areas I want to draw focus to. After that, it's just a matter of choosing the right speed paints and colouring in. One tip here, make sure your brush is well loaded. If the paint starts to dry out mid-stroke, you'll get streaks and patchiness. Once the main colours are down, I do an all-over wash with Agrat's Earthshade. This step does 3 things. It adds realism, boosts the shadows for more depth, and helps tie all the colours together. Speed paints do a good job already, but I find this wash really brings out the contrast. Then I seal everything with an ultra matte varnish, a step that I think is often underrated. Not only does it knock back any unwanted shine, but it actually helps the colours pop more once it's dry. After that, I pick out the metallics to bring back some controlled shine, and then it's time to base the model. At this stage, the model reads really well on the tabletop. I've had plenty of compliments on my Gimli, and honestly, it was a very simple paint job. Right now, I'm working on the next stage of this method for characters I want to spend a little more time on. Once I'm happy with that new level, I'll start including it in my videos here. With Gimli painted, it's time for the part I was most excited about, the Barlin's Tomb board. The magazine covers this build over 10 pages, so I knew going in it was going to be a bit of a marathon. It actually took me about 4 weeks from start to finish. I spent a lot of time 3D modelling and printing, and in the UK heatwave, which made it nearly impossible to spend time up in my loft. Plus all the drying time for the clay, sculptor mould, PVA, washes, and even a little family fishing holiday. And yeah, it took a while. But I got it done, and honestly, I'm really happy with how it turned out. You can check out the full build through the link above, but here's a quick overview of the whole process. Welcome to the Chamber of Masamon, Barlin's tomb. I began by building the framework for the walls and raised levels, using cheap expanded polystyrene. The board is 2 foot by 2 foot, so it needed quite a bit cut to size. Once everything was trimmed, I made space for the pillars and bookcases. I really wanted to include the dwarven writing we see around Barlin's tomb, so I created a custom texture roller. It's made from the names of all my past and present patrons. I rolled this onto the clay and it left behind a really nice repeating texture. With all the walls built and textured, everything was glued down onto the base. To give the whole board a natural stone feel, I applied a layer of sculptor mould all over. Once that dried, I recut the areas for the bookcases and pillars and glued them firmly into place. Then it was on to painting. I gave the whole thing a black base coat with a spray can, followed by a dry brush of grey, and added more interest with a few select washes. For decoration, I crafted miniature books and scrolls for the shelves, and even made some printed poems and pages for the open books and scrolls. These were carefully glued into the bookcases. Finally, I added the weapons racks, the tomb itself, and the well, and with that, I called it finished. I can't express how happy I am with this build. It genuinely makes me smile every time I see it up in the loft. And that wraps up issue 21. Let me know what your thoughts are. What was your favourite part of this one? Coming up in the next issue, we continue our journey through Moria with the Bridge of Khazad-dûm. And we get a set of plastic Moria runes to go along with it. If you enjoy what I do and you want to support the channel, consider joining these wonderful people, or just a like, a comment and a subscribe really helps me out. Until next time, happy painting and modelling.